coming from you. Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, Burn It Down with Kim Brown, follow us places around the internet. So, in contrast to what's happening in Palestine on the ground, as Israeli forces commit the Flower Massacre, over 100 Palestinians slaughtered while seeking humanitarian aid, hundreds of others injured. Hospitals have been bombed in Palestine and Gaza. The amount of medical aid is scarily low. And of course, they're starving, right? And of course, Israel's still raining bombs down. And in the American presidential election, we are still very much in the primary phase, but I don't even know if we can call it a primary phase, everybody. Pretty much the outcome of the party's nominees has been decided because, didn't really have a lot of choice, did we? And this is a contest that literally no one in this country is looking forward to. Trump v. Biden again? These two motherfuckers again? Adios mio. But the primary campaign continues, and Trump has won every primary. Biden has run every primary so far. But what happened in Michigan this week, I think, is something to take notice of. Very much so. Because as much as Joe Biden and the Democrats think that Donald Trump's reputation with his indictments and his federal fines and this shit, that shit, Trump being terrible in general, they think that's enough. They think Trump's recent record of irresponsibility, even though that's his whole adult life, but okay. They think that's going to be enough to turn Americans away from Joe Biden or away from Donald Trump towards Joe Biden. And I don't think that's the case. In fact, the Democrats are grossly miscalculating, number one, how beloved Trump is, how all his racist foolishness is embraced, how his saying, basically fuck the police and fuck the FBI, that shit is a winning message. I mean, I like that shit. I mean, I'm like, defund the FBI. Yes, nigga. Go on. Shush. Y'all let Trump finish talking. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. But anyway, Michigan primary. So Michigan is one of the states in which people coming to vote in the primary can vote uncommitted. Okay, cool. But what happened was there was a bit of a brief, albeit seemingly successful campaign to get Michiganders to vote uncommitted, and as a protest vote against Joe Biden, against his support of the Israeli genocide happening against Palestinians. Michigan is home to the largest Arab American community in the US, right? Arabs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I say Arabs lovingly. Understand? It's a lot of Palestinian. It's a lot of what's the Bamas? The Chaldeans. Correct me, chat. Don't let me be out here sounding all the way foolish. But it's a lot of Arabs there, primarily Palestinians, right? And they, encouraged by Representative Rashida Tlaib, who is the first and only Palestinian elected member of Congress, to vote uncommitted, to tell Joe Biden basically to go fuck yourself. Like, you think what you think? You think everybody just gonna vote for you because you not Trump? You gotta have to earn this vote. And the way you earn that particular constituent group's vote is to do a ceasefire. Make Israel adhere to a ceasefire. Okay. But in pure liberal, tone deaf, head in the sand, oh, we're not going to figure this shit out until after the election. And then they're going to do a whole autopsy on everything that went wrong. And they're going to pretend as though what happened in the Michigan primary was not a big deal. Let me prove that to y'all by giving you not my analysis, of course. Mine is not the worst out here, but amongst the worst is NBC News. And for all y'all MSNBC viewers, how? How do y'all do this? Why do y'all not like nice things? I don't know. But Chuck Todd, the former host of Meet the Press, I would say Meet the Press worst host, was interviewed by, I'd say, Meet the Press's second worst host, Kristen Welker. She's not. I don't know why I had better expectations. Silly me. But She not as bad as Chuck Todd, but she is far from Timmy Russert. Lord have mercy. So anyway, Chuck Todd gave his worthless ass wooden nickels, his 2 fucking cents, his wooden nickels of political opinion about what to take away from. Am I reading this right? 100,000, 100,000 uncommitted votes in the Michigan Democratic primary. Seems like a very big deal. Will, let's take a look at the clip.
About Michigan. You could argue there are warning signs for both parties in Michigan,
Right.
but let's talk about Democrats, because I think that's kind of where most of the focus has been. You have these 100,000 uncommitted votes. You and I spoke about this earlier. You said you were watching to see if it got up to 30%. Didn't get that high, but still not insignificant.
I think it really depends. If you portray it as 100,000 votes, it sounds more significant than if you say they didn't win a single delegate.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't make threshold of 15%. Right. So it really, I think a lot of it has to do with, it's like, I don't want to take anything away from the activists and their passion on what the message that they wanted to send. But if you're the Biden campaign, you're just looking at this through a political lens. This could have been a lot worse. This could have been, this was a free vote. Bernie Sanders' organization was helping. You had Beto O'Rourke. So I look at all of this sort of somewhat institutional support that the protesters got, including from at least one sort of news organization, and they still only got, So I think that to a certain community, this is really highly important. But I think it's contained as a political problem. This could have metastasized. This could have been, I sort of look at it the same way I look at the New Hampshire write-in effort. All the ingredients were there to really embarrass Biden. All the ingredients in Michigan were there to embarrass him. And just the opposite happened. They not only contained it in some ways, he showed far more strength than I expected. So that's, I'm trying to, I don't want to somehow say, oh, well, the protest movement, came up short. I just think there are certain people this might be a voting issue for, but it's a much smaller group of voters than I think many people realize.
Yeah, and it didn't.
We're talking about the primary, guys. The primary is already fucking decided. The Democrats basically have already picked their candidate. It's going to be Joe Biden, right? So for Chuck Todd to even reference the New Hampshire write-in effort, right? And listen, this is not to besmirch or disparage any third-party candidate. Shout out to Dr. West. Shout out to Claudia De La Cruz. Vesper X is in the building. Shout out to Marion Williamson. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? It's not to besmirch that, but let's be real here, okay? None of these people stand a chance of capturing not even one state away from Joe Biden, okay? So the stage, the ticket is set. So let's get off of that, okay? All this primary shit is perfunctory at this point. The nominees have been selected. By all means, vote whoever the fuck you want to. Do your thing, okay? But to ignore 100,000 votes in a primary campaign, not for Joe Biden during the primary, I think is something that the Democrats and the Biden campaign, if they choose to ignore it, they're going to ignore it to their own folly, because it is far short-sighted for Chuck Todd to even talk about, well, I don't think it's 100,000 votes to me, but they didn't get to the threshold of the delegate. Nigga, nobody gives a fuck about the fucking delegates. Biden has got the shit sewed up. Who the fuck cares about the delegates? You're trying to win a general election in a swing state that Trump won in 2016. He won Michigan in 2016, the first time that a Republican had won that state, I believe, since 1988. Trump won Michigan by, I think, 11,000 votes. A super razor-thin margin, right? In 2020, Biden retook the state back, stretched his lead out considerably. I think Trump got 2.6 million votes. I think Biden got 2.8 million. So roughly about a difference of 200,000, okay? And that's a presidential contest. So not many people turn out for a primary, right? You'll get some, but the people who are regular voters will come out for that presidential contest, right? They may not come out for the primary. They may or may not come out for the midterm, but people who do vote usually show up to vote for president, okay? And Joe Biden, let's stick to Michigan. Joe Biden in Michigan is not going to have the same momentum in 2024 that he had in 2020 because not it, it's you're not going to be able to generate this never Trump energy again. I don't think in 2024. I don't think so. I think there was a big fervor for it in 2020 because we had experienced 4 years of Trump by then, right? But now having experienced 4 years of Joe Biden, the tenor, the decorum of the White House, I suppose, is improved, but the policies of the fucking White House are not that big a difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They pretty much still have the same border policies. When it comes to Israel's genocide in Palestine, Trump ain't gonna be no different. But we have a Democrat who is part and parcel an accomplice to a genocide, right? For an American ally. So that changes, I think, the calculus for a lot of voters in Michigan who have direct ties to the region, either to Palestine or to the wider region, right? But even if you have Arabs in Michigan who aren't Palestinian, all they homies is Palestinian on this side of the pond, right? So I think that the Democrats are going to have a real problem because I don't think it's going to be so much people turning out to vote for Trump. It's going to be people not voting for Joe Biden. I think people are in Michigan. I think people are going to show up to the polls. They're going to do our strategy, right? They're going to vote down ballot. They're going to vote the referendums. They're going to vote their local races, and they're going to leave President blank. And it's those omitted votes, right? That never casted a vote for Joe Biden in 2024 during the November election. That is going to be what takes Joe Biden down, okay? I think the turnout is going to be good. I think people are going to show up to vote. I just think they're just going to leave the presidential box blank. And if 100,000 people showed up to a primary to specifically tell Biden to go fuck himself by voting uncommitted, wait till the big race come up, everybody. Wait till that big race come up. And I don't know if Joe Biden showing up along the picket lines with the UAW workers, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I don't know if anybody but Trump is going to be enough. I don't know if this whole argument Democrats like to, throw out on people about upholding democracy, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to work. Look at all the democracy that we have seen been eroded under a Biden administration. Women's access to health care. And I know very much that the Democrats are going to run on abortion, no doubt. But again, what's the fucking plan? like y'all niggas can run on abortion. What's your plan? I haven't heard the Biden-Harris plan to enshrine abortion federally as law. Maybe it's out there, but I can't claim to have heard it. But don't listen to me because I ignored Joe Biden. I try to ignore Joe Biden as much as possible because every time I tune into this motherfucker, he's doing some fuckery, right? Or he's endorsing some fuckery, or always something bad with Biden, right? But I think Joe Biden's gonna lose, everybody. I'm gonna jump out there. Let me go on the record. Maybe that's not such a maybe that's not far-fetched. Maybe that's not something I can hang my hat on in November, December. Be like, see, I told y'all. I mean, like, it might be pretty obvious, even here in March, that Joe Biden is not going to win this contest. And I think, people questioning his cognitive ability, his physical condition, I think all that shit is valid. But that's not going to be why he loses. And for Chuck Todd also to say that, the issue of, basically he's referring to the Israeli war on Palestinians as a niche issue. I'm not certain that it's that. I think Joe Biden is going to have a difficult time in some other key swing states. I think Pennsylvania is going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? There's lots of Muslims in Pennsylvania, Philly specifically, and they not Arabs, but they Muslims. So, I mean, they might ride, for their religious brethren and sisterin out here. That could tip the scales. And I know people will be like, oh, Kim, he's going to win Pennsylvania. I don't know that, guys. Pennsylvanians will tell you, You have Philadelphia to the east, you got Pittsburgh to the west, and what you got in the middle? Pennsylvania, you got Alabama. Okay? All that shit in between Philly and Pittsburgh and going up to the north and central and headed over to the west towards the Great Lakes and to the east over towards Scranton. That's all Trump country, my nigga. That's Trump country, my nigga. And if the blacks, if the blacks and Arabs, if they don't turn out, ooh, Pennsylvania might be looking a little different. Pennsylvania might be looking a little different. So anyway, if the Democrats and Joe Biden lose the White House for supporting the genocide, I say it is the outcome that they deserve. And some are going to argue and push back. Well, what you mean? That means you want Donald Trump to be president. I want people who come and beg for my vote, never listen to my issues, have not improved the conditions of my people. I want them people to lose. If Trump and Biden could both lose, oh, glory. I want them both to lose if we keeping it a buck. But Joe Biden has been the one all up in black people's face, shaming black people, as a senator locking up black people. Senator Joe Biden once joked whilst the 1994 crime bill was being worked through. Joe Biden joked. What did he say, y'all? He said, I'm gonna give people the death penalty for jaywalking. I'm paraphrasing, but he did make a comment along those lines. Okay. Fuck that nigga. Fuck him. Fuck Hunter. Fuck. The only Bidens we fuck with are Commander and Major. Shout out to the Biden German Shepherds. Bit every fucking cop that came through the White House. Bit every Secret Service agent. I said, good boy. Commander and Major, that's a good boy. You bite all them piggies. That's a good boy. So shout them. The only Bidens that's worth a damn out here is fucking Commander and Major. Joe can suck it. Jill can suck it. Hunter, all the rest of them, suck it. I hope you lose. I hope y'all go back to Rehoboth Beach and live out your final days. And be concerned about where the afterlife is going to deposit you. If I were Joe Biden, these are the things I would be concerned about. And he ought to be concerned, and Democrats ought to be concerned that the genocide is going to cost you the election. And y'all don't believe us, but y'all gonna fuck around and find out. Because in a lot of these places, you guys, a lot of so-called democratic strongholds, the shit may not be as easy as a cakewalk as they think it's going to be. And it's not going to be because Trump got to turn out. Well, it's probably going to be a lot of factors. Trump is going to have to turn out his base, no question, in order to win. But it's going to be a lot of disaffected, disgusted, younger voters, 40 and under, I think, is going to turn out. People who would otherwise be voting Democrat are not going to vote for president. And Joe Biden is going to be stuck holding the bag. And I'd like to welcome all of you pro-Palestinian folks. We black folks, welcome you. Come join us. Because when the blame game starts to rain down, we're going to be like, well, it was them too. Yes, black people did not turn out and show up for Joe Biden, but the pro-Palestinian, the radical whites didn't either. So y'all yell at them for a change. yell at the radical non-Zionist Jews for a change. Yell at them Bamas. Stop yelling at black folks when Democrats lose. No, yell at a constellation of would-be Democrat constituents, because I think the Democrats, with this latest massacre incursion happening upon people in Gaza, the flower massacre after the Super Bowl massacre, a red line has been crossed in the minds of literally humanitarian loving people in this country. Okay, that's it. If you think there was ever a chance in hell that I would ever cast a vote for Joe Biden, I wouldn't have anyway. But after the flower massacre, no chance in the world. Lose, bitch. Get out the way.